Welcome to the Efivos podcast, where we explore pressing issues and amplifying the voices of youth. I'm your host, Andrei Dodea, and this podcast is recorded under the framework of the Efivos project. Efivos is an initiative aimed at increasing knowledge and awareness of the EU institutions, policies, and democratic procedures. In each episode, we dive into topics that matter, providing insights, discussions, and empowering the voices of the next generation. Join us as we navigate through the issues that shape our world. Let's make democracy more accessible, one conversation at a time.
And today we're joined by Gratian Mihailescu. First things first, Gratian, who are you and what is UrbanizeHub?
I like to say that I'm a business NGO, but I'm less, let's say, I don't know how to put it because it's a mix between an NGO and a business. And I want to say that I'm doing also social impact with the work that we are developing in Romania, and not only. But we understand that only social impact without financial sustainability doesn't work. So we are a mix between an NGO and a business. And I want to say that for the NGOs, we are seen as a business, and for the business, we are seen as an NGO. And about me, I'm passionate about cities, and I like what's happening in a city from the sustainability point of view till the vitality of cultural life, mobility, and everything. I see city as urban life as a organism, and is all the time moving, and things are happening, and it's quite provocative to see and understand the life in the city. So what we are doing at UrbanizeHub is to provide solutions, ideas, innovation about the city, because without this vision you cannot evolve.
And speaking of urban innovation and urban solutions, I've heard you call UrbanizeHub a laboratory of urban innovation, inspiring people and calling them to get involved in the city they live in. Who would you say is responsible for building a great city?
We are living in an era where urban governance or multi-level governance it's taking place. It's like I don't believe and I don't trust that only public administration or central government is dealing with everything what's related with sustainable development of the future. So I think that everyone is, or at least should be, interested and involved in this process of dealing with the decision and implementing projects of a city. So I think this collaboration, it's the new trend in governance. I think it's really hard to be done, but this is the way it should be done in the future. It's not only about the mayor or the local councils who will take the decision. It's about the university. It's about NGOs. It's also about the private actors. This urban governance process where everyone should be involved somehow and everyone should have a piece of the cake. It's not only about of course, public administration has the EU funds in order to develop infrastructure, in order to develop mobility, but give a little bit also to the NGOs. Involve also the experts of the university, because they have expertise and they can use expertise in order to create sustainable projects. So I think this cluster of collaboration will be the future of the cities, where everyone should be somehow involved.
I totally agree on the note of the fact that stakeholders shouldn't be fighting, and also the fact that we need a cluster of actors working together in order to build a city of the future. But speaking of the future and speaking of sustainability goals, nowadays we talk about sustainability quite a lot more, and the topic is quite a lot more common, in part thanks to your work as well. But the question still stands. Why do we need more sustainable cities?
First of all, I think there is no way. I mean, you cannot go back. This is the way. I mean, this is the future. I'm thinking now about the news all the time when it's a free day in Romania and everybody is going abroad from the city, you know, like going out, not staying in the city because it's a free day, you know. And the reporter is coming and, how do you feel now that it's, I don't know, 1st of May, you know? We came here because it's good air and we have green spaces. Why we don't make the planning in order to have good air and green spaces in the city, you know, to feel better? Why we need to have this escape only when it's 1st of May or other holidays? So yeah, I think this is the future. This is the trend, because it's given not only by the European Commission, but it's given also by UN and all the macro institutions. So right now, for example, we are part of the climate neutrality project. I am also expert of the European Commission, working for 100 cities which are transforming themselves in till 2030 in net zero cities. Each of those cities who were elected must reduce the footprint carbon till 80%. These are the objectives. So I think it's better for us as citizens to live in more friendlier and more greener cities from the healthier point of view, because there is a strict correlation between the traffic, pollution, agglomeration, and cancer prevention. This will happen even if we want. If not, things will go in that direction. I mean, there is no return point.
This is the future in terms of sustainability. This is the future of cities. But sometimes to get to that future, it just doesn't happen as quickly as we'd want to. And in an interview, I heard you say it's good to be unsatisfied about your city because dissatisfaction can bring progress. How satisfied are young people with their cities, and what is the progress that you've seen being made because of that dissatisfaction?
For example, in comparison with 15 years ago, there are many movements which were made, and for example, let's take Bucharest. There are a lot of innovation action groups which are representing areas of the city. It's not only for young people, it's everybody there. I see a lot of young people, especially when we are organizing Urban Lab for green cities. For example, in Bucharest last year in November, first place was won by a team of, they were teenagers. They were 17 and 18 years old. And they came with a solution of mental health for young people who are suffering of I didn't know that exists this type of eco-anxiety. So they are very sensitive to the green issues. And they came with this ideas of workshop for young people in order to reduce the eco-anxiety between them. I think the level of civic engagement and the level of rise a lot. I'm 45 years old, and between my when I was young and between my friends who have the same age, when I was a student, the young people were not so preoccupied about these issues because of the information that is more accessible right now, because of the opportunities that Europe is and also other type of programs like you are doing here. People who are interested, they can have a voice and they can develop themselves and do good. And I think the future is not only about business, it's about social also. So I think, and I see that even us as a movement, we are doing the same. And I think in the future, the more types of, let's say, sustainable solutions will come, which will combine the social impact with the business and with changing the society. I think this new wave, I can feel it. We are part of this also, and I can feel it, and it's totally different than it was when I was a young student.
And you said that there's many projects in which to get involved. And yes, there are more projects and more initiatives than a few years back. And you've also published a book called Romanian City 4.0. I know you consider a smart city to be more about the people rather than the technology, and you prefer to work on projects rather than talk about working on projects. But I'm curious, what are some of the urban sustainability initiatives that need to be talked about more?
This new trend of urban governance should be in mainstream media. At least this is what we are trying to make everyone to understand about the collaboration of different stakeholders when you talk about the city development. Of course, then what we did also in the past was bringing expertise in our podcasts and talk about how a city, what does it mean a beautiful city. We launched 2 years ago Manifesto for a Beautiful City, which was written by the experts in urbanism and architects, because we don't understand and we don't have the aesthetic of a beautiful city. And we don't understand the city. This is a problem in Romania. We don't understand how a city could look like. For example, I was talking with a landscape architect from Netherlands who came as a speaker for our events, and we were in a main market in Iași, in the city of Iași, and he was saying, wow, this is beautiful. We are here, and look, there are so many cars who are passing this. Here should be a big market, because in this way you can have emphasize on the buildings which are surrounding. If you have the cars, then it will noise, and it's everybody will be concerned about the traffic. I didn't think about the city like that, but he was thinking like that because he was doing this type of projects for Netherlands. And I think this is a way that we are suffering. The city is happening to us. We are not driving the city in the direction that we want to do it. If you are living in a place and your whole time, like 10 years, you don't imagine that place in another way that you are using that place. You understand? So we don't have the power to dream, and we don't have the power to realize that the city could look different, because we are too accustomed to the place that we are using. So we don't understand how a city could look. We don't have the power of imagination. We are lacking of a vision, and I think it's very hard to spread this strategic planning and to have this type of vision for the majority of the people. So I think we should talk a lot about urban regeneration, about more walkable cities, about this is what actually we are doing at UrbanizeHub, because we think that if more people are educated in this vision, in this way, then probably it will be much easier to implement this project. You know, it's like marketing. You are talking so much about a thing till that thing becomes reality.
I think we don't have the vision for how to create the city, because we don't really understand the city. But if we thought about the city like a house, maybe that would be more manageable. And in a TED Talk, I heard you say, the city is the house of our house. And you encourage people to ask themselves, what would you do for your city if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you suggest young people do in order to take better care of their city, to take better care of the home which goes beyond the steps of their house?
Actually, this question came to my mind in 2016 when I was doing a program in San Francisco, and somebody asked me there what you will do if you know will not fail. And I kept this question in my mind in order to cross all the barriers and all the difficulties that I met during my life since then. And I think it's a good question that should be put from time to time in everyone's head in order to advance in what they want to do. And related with the city, why we are throwing garbage on the street? Because we are not throwing in our house this. We are thinking all the time, there are discussion about the system doesn't change, politicians doesn't do right thing, but the system, we are the system. It's not the politicians. We should start from there in order to make a city more friendlier and more beauty and more sustainable. I think first of all, before asking to the politician and before asking to the mayor to do something, to ask ourselves what we are doing for the city. And first of all, it's the way how we interact with the city every day. And the second of all, if we are doing for the city, not only in our interaction with the city, but as citizens. So what we do, let's say, for the neighborhood where we are living. I really believe that a city is a reflection of their citizens. And if the citizens are more involved and they are taking care of the city will look much beautiful. It's easy. It's simple. It's logic, you know. If you have not, let's say, not 100% of the citizens, but let's say 20% of the citizens who are taking care, who are not throwing bags, who are collecting the poops from the dogs, who are involving their neighborhood with some pilot projects for, let's say, let's do a more greener space in our area. Let's put some plants. Let's talk with the people who are living in the same block to do something in our area. I mean, the city will look differently. So it's there are two things. It's the way how we interact the city and how we perceive the city in our mental, taking care of the city as we are taking care of our home. And the second, let's do something social for the city. And I think the cities will change if we will have this type of behavior.
I also think the cities will change if we acted that way. Gratian, thank you so very much for that time. Now, last question. Where would you like to send people, and how can young people engage with what UrbanizeHub does?
I invite everyone to go on urbanizehub.ro and to subscribe to our newsletter. They can watch on Instagram, on UrbanizeHub, on TikTok. We have even the TikTok page on UrbanizeHub. And to stay tuned, because we will organize events regarding the things that we discuss here, which are called Urban Talks. And we organize also ideathons or hackathons, or we are saying that is a concept about sustainable cities, and it is called Urban Lab for Green Cities. And we invite everyone who want to transform their cities in a more sustainable communities to be part of this contest where we give also prizes, and there are happening a lot of cool things in UrbanizeHub, and everyone who is interested about the city should follow us. Thank you.
Thank you, dear listeners, for joining our conversation with Gratian Mihailescu on the topic of building a more sustainable community for young people. Your engagement is what makes these conversations impactful. If you found today's episode useful, don't miss out on other podcasts developed under the Efivos project. Each one offers a unique perspective covering a spectrum of topics that shape our understanding of the world. This podcast has been made possible by your host,
Andrei Dodea, and the executive producer, Alexandra Peca. Stay curious, stay informed, and let's continue this journey of discovery together.